Now at 6, a Joplin pizzeria and a nonprofit joined forces to help seniors during these blistering summer days. Plus, a new school year brings some familiar problems as a shortage of bus drivers in Joplin leads to some serious bus delays. And the Freeman Business Center hosts a crisis management seminar.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
There's a growing demand for support to help senior citizens, providing things ranging from food to fans in this heat. This is KOAM News at 6. I'm Dow Quick. To help those residents, a Joplin pizzeria and nonprofit joined forces today. KOAM's Amber Jenkins has details.
The third annual Slice for Seniors took place at Gusano's in Joplin. The Area Agency on Aging partnered with the local pizzeria to raise funds for the Meals on Wheels program.
We deliver about 250,000 meals to older adults who cannot, for whatever reason, either access nutrition regularly or are geographically isolated, if they live out in the county, or just can't drive or stand long enough to prepare a meal.
From 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., 20% of all sales go to Meals on Wheels, funding better meals and other needs for senior citizens.
In addition to our home delivered meal program, whatever a senior needs, we try to obtain that for them. So during a heat wave like this, it may be box fans or some help in that regard.
The agency's building on 15th Street also functions as a cooling center. This is possible through the support of the community.
Many businesses that support us, that know the need of our older adults. We actually had some pre-orders from some local businesses. We have already sent out 45 to 50 pizzas before Gusano's even opened this morning.
That's what we're all about, and that's why we're all here together. We came out to support Area on Agency, and we love being able to support our local Meals on Wheels. There we go.
Reporting in Joplin, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
This is the first year that Slices for Seniors has been held at Gusano's. People of any age could use some relief from this heat. Let's check in with Sam Lane.
That's right. We are definitely needing a break, and there is one on the horizon. We just have a few days before we get there. As temperatures this morning were very mild, and then this afternoon, look at this, highs in the low 100s, especially across southeastern Kansas, and upper 90s elsewhere. But with the dew points, it made it feel a lot worse out there. Temperatures are going to be falling through the 90s into the upper 80s, and then to about 78 by tomorrow morning. There is some moisture in our area. It's way down in South Texas, but some of that is starting to sneak around the upper level high. In fact, we have one thunderstorm developing in central Kansas, so that's kind of a foretaste of what's to come. But we're looking at the UV index tomorrow, still very high with 10 to 15 minutes of burn time, so make sure that you are taking plenty of precautions. And when I come back, I'll have a look at that cooler forecast, so you don't want to miss that.
See you soon. Joplin students are back at school, but they might be arriving for classes and home a bit late. District officials say the cause is something a lot of other school systems are also facing. Fernanda Silva has that story.
Amber Ross waited for her kids for over 1 hour inside the car on the first days of school. The reason? The bus her kids take was late. But still, she was thankful.
I'm glad I have air conditioning in my car right now.
The delay affects not only Ross' kids.
My youngest, it's his first year on the bus, so I know he is nervous.
But also her barbershop business.
I have to schedule my appointments around the buses, and when they aren't on time, it affects that as well.
Officials says 2 routes are delayed, but others are also having delaying issues.
Right now it is 3 p.m. and 191 of the routes that is being affected by the shortage of bus drivers should be leaving this school, but still didn't even make it here.
Be patient with us. We're trying our best, and like I said, our driver's #1 focus is safety. We know it's hot, and we want to get kids off the bus, but at the same time, we don't want to drop a kid at a wrong stop, or we don't want to drop a kid too far away from their destinations.
The district doesn't have a specific number of full-time positions to be filled, but encourages anyone interested in applying to join the 54 current bus drivers. They will especially be needed when extra activities start.
Parents are being warned about the delays through text messages. District officials expect the situation to improve in the coming weeks. If you'd like to apply to be a bus driver, you can find more information on our website. Of course, that's KOAMnewsnow.com. Diamond, Missouri kicks off their new school year with the help of some special guests. The Diamond Area Fire Protection District firefighters stationed themselves outside the school with fire trucks and emergency vehicles to remind drivers that school is in session. It's also a reminder about the new law that went into effect this summer in Missouri. It's illegal to drive while holding a phone.
You're not supposed to have the phone in your hand and talking at all on it, or texting is my understanding of it. You've got to have it set down where you're not even got your hands on it.
The Diamond Area firefighters stationed themselves outside the school entrances for the first 2 days of school. The Freeman Business Center held a crisis management seminar today. The seminar is designed to provide continuing education for physicians, advanced practice providers, nurses, and EMS professionals. Over the course of the day, healthcare workers could learn more about management of critical care needs during natural and intentional disasters, as well as how to manage the ICU setting for evacuation and coordination purposes.
Critical care support. Now, this is the trauma support from the clinical side and the incident command side of it. We're looking at how we cope with disasters after they happen, the crisis response, the mental health, behavioral health part of it for our staff.
That seminar began at 8 this morning, continued until 5. Coming up, newly released video shows the confrontation between the 98-year-old co-owner of the Marion County newspaper and the police inside her home. Plus, inmates in a Missouri jail take a 70-year-old guard hostage. We'll have the latest.
The Furniture and Joplin.
A man's facing charges after a missing and endangered child from Indiana was found in Commerce, Oklahoma. Authorities say Jonathan Juarez was arrested on charges of first-degree rape, possession of child pornography, and harboring a juvenile runaway. Juarez was booked into the Ottawa County, Oklahoma jail. Now, according to the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, a federal hold has been placed on Juarez pending additional charges. A 70-year-old guard is safe after inmates took him hostage in a St. Louis jail. They took him at 6 this morning, but then they freed that guard hours later after a SWAT team intervened. The guard suffered minor injuries and was treated at a hospital. Authorities say less than lethal ammunition was used on the inmates, but did not elaborate. The abduction was the latest of several acts of violence inside the jail, known as the City Justice Center. Holds about 700 inmates. Advocates for inmates have long complained about conditions at that jail. Newly released video of a police raid on the home of a 98-year-old Kansas woman shows that woman confronting officers.
Don't you touch any of that stuff. Ma'am, this is my house.
This video was posted on the Marion County Record newspaper's website. Joanne Meyer co-owned the newspaper with her son Eric Meyer. They also shared the home, but he was not home during the police raid. Joanne Meyer died the next day. Her son believes stress from the raid contributed to her death. The security video shows at least 6 law enforcement officials conducting the nearly 2-hour search on August 11th. A prosecutor said later there was insufficient evidence of a crime to justify the raids at the home and at the newspaper office. A little later, a new mural in Fort Scott pays tribute to a particular group of Civil War soldiers.
And the heat just continues to go on across our area, but there is some relief in sight, and I'll tell you all about it when we come back. Well, the heat just continues to go on across the 4 states with temperatures over 100 degrees yet again in many locations. This morning it was pretty warm already at 80 degrees. So let's take a look outside at Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. As we go through the afternoon, you can see bright blue skies and a few thin cirrus clouds coming in and also some cumulus developing this afternoon. That was because we had just enough moisture moving up from the south from Harold to give us a little bit of a break today, but we still made it up to 99 after starting out at 80, which of course was way above the normals of 90 and 67, but at least we weren't near that record of 103. And of course, we're way behind on the rainfall. Speaking of rainfall, there is something on radar. Our radar actually works, believe it or not. We're picking up some storms up to the north of Wichita, between Wichita and Salina. Also a little bit of a shower there west of Elk County, but that is about it. And we are still baking under this heat. Zooming in on that storm, it was severe earlier, but now that warning has been dropped. Right around Mound, there is where the biggest storm is in our region. But we're going to have to wait a little bit longer before we start to see some more decent moisture in here. We're under excessive heat warning. They've now extended it till 10 o'clock on Friday, and also it extends into Oklahoma and Arkansas tomorrow evening at 8 p.m., but that will be reissued again for tomorrow. Temperatures right now, they're still pretty toasty. 98 in Chanute, 100 in Neodesha, 98 in Yates Center. A little bit cooler over in Cassville and Monette, where they're currently sitting at only 91 degrees. But look at the dew points. They're in the mid-70s still, and this is what's causing it to feel so uncomfortable out there. And dew points are still in the 80s in Oklahoma, and so that's way soupy on our dew point tracker, and that's also adding to the feels like temperature. Look at this, 119 in Grove right now is what it feels like. 118 in Veneta, just blistering hot out there. And tomorrow, the heat index is going to be up there once again, generally 110 plus, especially in Oklahoma with those higher dew points. Starting to see a little bit lower up to the north and west, but as we go into Friday and Thursday, we're going to see again temperatures feeling like well over 110 in many locations. And then on Friday, finally starting to see some relief for a large part of the area, but still feeling like over 110 down in Oklahoma. Rain chances, they're just not there. Pretty much close to zero for the next 36 hours. But notice, this is Harold. This is what's left of Harold. And watch what happens. As Harold moves to the west, he kind of goes around and up and over this ridge of high pressure. And so finally, by Saturday, we'll start to see some moisture and also some cooler air moving into our area. So we do have some hope on the horizon. But tonight, lows in the mid-70s. Tomorrow, temperatures near or at 100 degrees or above. And then as we go into Thursday morning, again, lows in the mid-70s. And then highs again on Thursday afternoon, close to 100 degrees, maybe 103 in Parsons and Fredonia. So a toasty one yet again. And then Friday, lows in the 70s. And then over the next 7 days, we finally have a break in this heat wave arriving on Saturday. And then look at that, Sunday 88 with a chance of showers and storms, and cooler still for Monday, a high of only 85 on Monday, Dow.
Looking forward to that. And it's interesting that Harold might bring some precipitation to the area, and if so, it's by such a roundabout
He's
track.
taking the scenic route.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sam. Kansas is going to soon have a new mural honoring a particular group of Civil War soldiers. Artist Kababi Bayhawk began work in Fort Scott on a mural honoring the first Kansas Colored Infantry, as they were called. Bayhawk says his hope is the mural will shed light on this special group of soldiers.
I hope they're just interested in reading more about their story, just to find out, this missing legacy that people knew about but hasn't been told. So even if this just sparks their interest, because the word First Kansas will be in there, so maybe even just seeing that, they'll Google it.
Check it out. The mural is on the north end of Main Street overlooking the fort. It's expected to be finished by Friday or Saturday. Still ahead, the Cardinals and Royals each play a very winnable game tonight, and a Joplin softball player makes her college commitment to a local school. John Dales has those stories and more up next.
The Mansion.
We are a week and a half away from high school football games kicking off in the state of Kansas, and one of the local teams with a ton to prove in 2023 is Riverton. The Rams struggled to a 1-8 record in 2022, but that was while they were implementing an entirely new offensive and defensive system, and with a very young roster in some spots. According to those on the team that have been participating in off-season practices and scrimmages, things are looking different this season.
Just toughness, all-around toughness. I feel like we stepped it up by far this year. We've been playing more physical, hitting every day. We're just, working hard in the trenches. Weights every morning, practice. We've been on the field almost every day, as much as we can legally. So Yeah, we're just working hard every day.
We came in and watched video from 7 to 8 before we came out here. One of our probably weaknesses last year a little bit was our offensive line. Not because they weren't very good, because they were all sophomores and young kids. You can tell what a full year in the weight room's done, a full year of being a little bit more mature and just growing up and being a little bit more of a man. And from the film that we saw from our Saturday morning scrimmage, our offensive line played very, very well.
And as the summer is winding down, the window for college commitments from the class of 2024, well, it's beginning to pick up some steam. One of those being Joplin High School's Bailey Ledford, who announces her commitment to Crowder College on Twitter yesterday. The rising senior at Joplin is the third local commit that the Rough Riders have gotten the past few weeks, after Shelby Underwood from Northeast and Columbus's Katie Simpson each commit to Crowder since the beginning of August. Ledford's senior softball season at Joplin begins with the Aurora Kickoff Classic this Friday and Saturday. More exciting career news for a former Rough Rider standout, Jacob Mizorowski, who was a part of the 2022 Rough Riders team and was recently promoted to Double-A within the Milwaukee Brewers organization. That has him playing for the Biloxi Shuckers in Mississippi, and he was just named the Southern League Player of the Week. Now, here's a timeline of the highlights for Mizorowski this season. He actually began 2023 in Low A with Carolina, then was promoted to the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers by early June. He threw 11 100-mile-per-hour fastballs in the MLB All-Star Futures game on July 8th. Then, again, just recently getting named the Southern League Player of the Week within a month of being called up. In professional baseball, Cardinals are on the road at PNC Park in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania this evening. That one just got started a few minutes ago. Adam Wainwright, starting pitcher for the Redbirds, going against a team he's very familiar with. 23-8 career record for him, pitching against the Pirates. Royals on the road as well this evening. Bit of a late start out on the West Coast. First pitch not until 8:40 in Oakland. Kansas City has had a rough year. They've lost 3 in a row, but their run differential is still 133 better than Oakland's, who has scored 301 fewer runs than its opponents this year. By far, that's the worst in the major leagues. That's it for sports. We're back after this.
A four-state hero.
Here's a look at what's coming up on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Authorities in Parsons, Kansas investigate the suspicious death of a police canine. Plus, Joplin City Council hosts a reception to introduce police chief candidates to the public. And we're going to hear from a Weir, Kansas man who's raising awareness about the importance of wheelchair-accessible parking spots. Those stories and a lot more, of course, it's coming up tonight. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Who says the news isn't black and white, especially good news? Lincoln Park Zoo in Chicago welcomes a new addition this summer, healthy, strong female Grevy's zebra. The yet-to-be-named foal joins 3 other zebras, including mom Adia and dad Wester. Birth is particularly notable as Grevy's zebras are endangered, with fewer than 2,000 of the species in the wild due to habitat loss and hunting. So yes, there are actually different species of zebras. Grevy's is one of 3. Yes, yep. Indeed. The weather, it's too hot still, Sam.
It's still too hot, and we've got several more days of the hot weather continuing right on into Friday, but at least the weekend is coming, and that means cooler temperatures. 88 on Sunday with the scattered showers and thunderstorms, and then cooler still on Monday with a high of only 85. But look at those lows, 61 on Tuesday morning. That's like open your window type weather. And hopefully that will continue right on through next week, or at least closer to normal for this time of year.
And in fact, if you're outside when it's 61 degrees, you're wanting to put on a sweater.
That's right.
It's a little bit chilly.
That's right.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you right back here for KOAM News at 10. Let's make it a great evening.
Closed captioning.